Welcome to the Spark by Hollywood podcast. This podcast is all about shining the unique spark beyond the typical and traditional Hollywood love. I'm super excited about today's episode as we delve even deeper into the paradigm of the Hollywood culture of love, relationships, women empowerment, and much more. So today we're going to be talking about a couple of celebrities who many of you may know. And the reason why these celebrities stand out is because they made a radical statement. These celebrities that I'm going to be talking about let the world know that before they got married, they abstained from having sexual intimacy with their partner. They made it very clear to the one they were dating, to the one they were going to get married to, that they were going to wait for this special intimate moment to enter into the marriage connection. So yes, they could have had that physical connection before, that intimate connection before, but they were waiting for marriage. So who are these people? There are many, but I just picked a couple out of the hat to give you guys a little glimpse. So Jessica Simpson came out letting everyone know that she was remaining virgin until she was going to tie the knot with Nick. And she says that Nick actually remained patient. And he told her, I respect you for that. I respect you for your values. I respect you for your morals. And that's the statement they put out to the world. Very different than the typical, yeah, you're dating someone, you're not dating someone, you can have sex, you can do what you want, you can be intimate. But here we see that Jessica Simpson took us to another avenue, another lane, another option, another way of looking at it. And then we know that Justin Bieber and his wife, Hailey, they refrained from sex before getting married. And Justin added a different aspect to it. He said, my way of redirecting my soul to God is by making sure that I'm having sex at the right time within the marital connection, the marital union. And he said that he's actually reclaiming his soul, reclaiming his self-worth while practicing that. And obviously his wife, Hailey, was on board as well. Again, another aspect, another way to look at, do we have to sell our souls before we get married, before we tie the knot, before we choose one person who we're going to be spending the rest of our life with, and having this aspect, this intimate aspect, naturally part of our marriage, and just choosing not to do it before marriage, but to do it just within the marriage framework. And the last example I like to bring is the Victoria's Secret model, Adriana Lyme. Now, so she's Catholic, and true to her faith, she made a statement publicly saying that any suitors that come up for her, they would need to respect her decision that she is not having sex before getting married. And they'd have to respect her. And if they're not going to respect her and it doesn't work for them, then it's clearly not for her. So we look at these celebrities, and because celebrities are always in the limelight, and we already look at them like someone extraordinarily special because they're standing up on a pedestal, because they are models, because they're singers, because they're actors, actresses, etc. We look at what they say and we hold it to some level of truth, some level of authenticity. Now, a couple of episodes ago, I actually mentioned Matt Damon. And Matt Damon came out and said that his marriage is very special and unique because he practices abstaining from sex 2 weeks out of the month. So what he calls 2 weeks on and 2 weeks off, Matt Damon was telling the world that this is a recipe for success in marriage. So we have two different aspects over here. We have some celebrities abstaining from sex before they get married. And then within the marriage itself, we have we have a recipe. We have a little insider tip from Matt Damon. How do we make this marriage work? And he says 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. And we know Matt Damon, he's a famous actor. He actually made sure that whenever he was being cast in movies, it was not during the time that he was supposed to be with his wife during those 2 weeks on. And these stories actually make me happy. They actually warm my soul, and I'll tell you why. Because these celebrities didn't make these concepts up. They have a source. They have a source in Judaism. They have a source in Torah. And the fact that Judaism, it's spreading its light, and other people recognize it, and they can use these morals and values for themselves and show the world that it works, that's powerful. And yet, as a Jewish woman, I look deeper. I look all the way back to the source in the Torah, in Judaism, where it tells me more about how these relationships are supposed to pan out. So take a Jewish couple. They're dating to get married. They hold these values very strongly, and they're very clear. They're dating, they're talking, they're spending time. They are figuring out if they are meant for each other, but there's absolutely no physical touch. There's no physical intimacy between them. Once they're engaged, and they haven't really tied the knot yet. They got the ring, but they haven't completely tied the knot. It's still time to wait. We're still not there yet. Yes, we are committed to each other. Yes, we have a wedding date set, but it's not time for sexual intimacy just yet. And all that culminates, all that comes together on the marriage night when they are married. And it's the first time that they could be intimate and sexually active together. So that's before the marriage and once the marriage starts. But Judaism takes us a step beyond. Judaism wants this marriage, which according to Judaism, according to the Torah, is a holy union, a holy edifice in terms of not an actual edifice, but in a conceptual way. So how do we keep it holy? How do we make sure that it lasts? How do we make sure that the spark, the fire, the excitement that we feel while we're dating, while we are proposed to, while we are dancing away on the wedding night, the first month after marriage, the second month after marriage, when we're still all in love land, and as they say, high up there in the clouds, how do we make sure that we maintain it month after month, year after year? And that goes back to what Matt Damon teaches us, but it has a source in the Torah. So like Matt Damon, he practices 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. I, as a Jew, want to know, how do I do this practically? What is the Torah's instructions for me as a Jewish woman in a marriage with my husband? So the Torah says, when a woman menstruates, she reaches a level of impurity. Now, for many, the word impurity may be synonymous in their brain with dirty. Oh, she's dirty, right? She got her period. She's dirty. But no, period blood is not dirt. A woman who is menstruating is not dirty. She reaches a level of impurity, and this concept is not easily tangibly seen by the naked eye, but it's kind of like the cell phone tower that you know is giving you radio waves and allowing your cell phone to work, but we can't see it. So it's accomplishing a level of something spiritual, something in the energetic world that we cannot see, but the Torah recognizes it as a status of the woman. So just because, according to the Torah, she's impure, again, we're not wrapping yellow tape around her. There's no caution over here. She's not bad. There's nothing wrong in the marriage. The natural cycle of a woman's body produces menstruation once a month. And the Torah says, when you menstruate, your your status, your spiritual status is impure. Now, because Judaism looks at the sexual intimacy between husband and wife as complete holiness, and when she's in the state of impurity or unholiness, therefore, we cannot mix the two at that point. Therefore, the Torah says that's the time to abstain. That's really when your 2 weeks off begins. And it kind of makes sense with a natural sequence of what's happening, right? The woman gets her period. She's not feeling well. She feels achy. Maybe at that point, they've been active for 2 weeks. She kind of feels like she wants her own space. She wants to do girlfriend stuff. She wants some time alone on the beach. So it kind of falls into place. It doesn't mean she's walking away from her husband for 2 weeks. She still lives with him. She still communicates with him. But the focus at that time is not sexual intimacy. After she menstruates for a minimum of 5 days, says the Torah, minimum of five days. And the reason why we say minimum is because some women menstruate for 7. So she has to wait for her menstruation to finish. Once it ends, we have a concept in Judaism called 7 clean days. And those 7 clean days is a period where the woman checks herself with a special cloth. We call it a badika cloth, a checking cloth. And we make sure that there's no residue of blood emerging from her at that time. So that cloth essentially has to come out clean and white. Comes the 7th day of the 7 clean days. So again, back to our little math calculation. Let's say she menstruated for 5 days, 5 plus 7. So for her and her husband, they had 12 days off. Another couple, it might be 14. Another couple might be 15. It depends on her cycle. So come to the last day of the 7 clean days. What does she do to transfer her status from impurity to purity? And that's when she immerses in the mikveh waters. Now, the source of mikveh, the source of this immersion in waters, also has a source in the Torah where it talks about a woman who menstruates, and after she does, she immerses in mikveh waters, which are connected to a natural body of water. It's not that she has to go and immerse in an ocean, in a natural body. It's the way that the mikveh is constructed. It has access for natural water to rain into a special pool, and then it's connected and the waters meet. And it has a filtration system. So this woman goes to this beautiful spa-like mikveh on the 7th day, on the final day of her waiting. And remember, she's anticipating. She's been thinking about this all the time. So it's not just this concept of 2 week on, 2 week off. There's an anticipatory stage that her and her husband are going through. And it's a countdown. It's an excitement. It's emotions of love which are bottled up inside of her, and emotions of love which are bottled up inside of him. And sometimes during that 2 week off period, they might feel that they want to express themselves to each other in a physical way, in a sexual way, in a mind, body, and soul way. But they have to wait. They have to wait for the one experience that only they two together can experience together. And because they wait, and because they honor this time, when the woman emerges from the mikveh, she goes home and she tells her husband, I finished my immersion, and then they do resume sexual activity, sexual intimacy. And that cycle is repeated every single month. There was another episode that I did where I talk about the champagne effect. I spoke about the Ellen show, where Ellen brings home military husbands to their wives. Their wives are in the audience. Ellen surprises the audience members. She brings her up to stage. The husband's waiting behind the curtains or behind the doors, comes out. And these people have been separated for months. It could be between 6 months up to a year or even more. And at that moment, we see that connection, that excitement, that spark. Literally, you can see fireworks between husband and wife. She runs into his arms, gives him a hug. They're crying, they're weeping. And we, as spectators, as the audience, we feel that. We know that feeling of being separated and finally coming together. And you can imagine this couple who's up there on Ellen's stage, how much their champagne bottles have been shaking. He's in Iraq, she's in America. They're doing FaceTime, they're doing Zoom calls, but they can't see each other in person. They can't hold each other. They can't have that intimate connection which they want so badly, and they have to wait. They have to wait weeks and months until he's ready to come home. And that same concept of holding in your emotions until the time that you can see the person and be reunited, Judaism says, here's a wedding gift. Make sure you incorporate this in your marriage every single month. And that honeymoon that you're so excited to go on, that you're going to experience and have so much fun and plaster your pictures on social media and show how so much in love you are in, that honeymoon feeling, that love that you're feeling then, that could be re-experienced every single month. But I want to add one thing. It's not just about keeping the original love alive every single month. The love that we have for husband and wife enriches over time. What happens if during your 2 weeks off you had a nasty fight with your spouse, or there was a big argument, or there was a big decision that you had to come to together, and you spoke about it? Maybe there were some tears, maybe there was some loss that you guys went through, and through speaking about it and working through it, and at the same time, you really want to give each other a hug for support, but you hold off. You hold off on the physical touch. You hold off on the sexual aspect, because we know even a casual touch can lean into and lead to intimacy, sexual intimacy, even when we promise we're not going to do it. So when we take that step back and we deal with issues during the time off with words, with comfort, with acknowledgement, then when you finish the 2 weeks off, you know, you're not only just waiting for that person to get into bed to, you have a deeper level of understanding. You have a deeper level of love and a deeper level of appreciation for your spouse and the process that you're both committed to. And now I have a little surprise. I'd love to ask Ben, my producer, to jump on and add any comment he'd like to add. Question, comment. He's always so insightful.
Hello, Devor. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited because I just am so intrigued by all of this because I've been in definitely some relationships, and I have noticed, I mean, just listening to you, it makes sense. Like that honeymoon, I love that. And the fact that you do the two. But I've brought it up in the past, and somewhat like my partner has been like, what, do you not like me? Like, what's the issue? So how do you go about like bringing that to your partner's attention, or just being like, hey, this could really benefit us? And I know it's for marriage and stuff, but still, even for a relationship, I think, building that, I think could also benefit in a sense. But is there a way to go about doing it correctly, or bringing it to their attention in a way that it could benefit both of us in a sense?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I love how it's like a practical situation that you're working. It's not just like theoretical. You're like, how can I make this work for myself? So what I would say is the concept of 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, for someone who it's completely foreign to, I would say let's try 5 days off.
Okay.
Start with a little amount and see how that's attainable. And also have a plan of what you're going to be doing during this time. Day one, we're going to go out for a walk. And we're going to appreciate each other. We're going to have a good conversation about X, Y, and Z. Or we may just want to walk in silence.
Okay.
Day number 2, I love playing pool. You love playing pool or whatever it is. Let's go out for a pool game. That's the fun part of each other that we're appreciating and enjoying. And that's also part of a relationship. We want to like the person we love.
Yeah.
Right? There's this whole stress on love, and I'm in love, and I'm still like starry eyes. Hold on a second. Can you stand next to the other person and chop up a salad and have a nice conversation? And that brings me to day number 3. Day number 3, choose a dinner that you both like, and you're good at making the salad, she's good at making the meats or the rice, and you're going to stand side by side, make the dinner, and appreciate the conversation, or listen to your favorite music together.
I love that.
And I think that starting small, it gives the other person the appreciation that, hey, this is doable. And you can even talk about during that time, like, I really feel like, leaning in and giving you a kiss. And I really feel like tonight would be a good night to be in bed together. And I said, well, today's night 4. Tomorrow is day 5. At the end of tomorrow or day 6, however you figure out, we're going to honor this time. Yeah. And see what it feels like to have that abstinence and that love, and talk about, hey, I'm really excited. I'm looking forward to 2 days time, 3 days time.
It gives you, and as humans, just in general, we're always looking for something to look forward to. We're always looking for that great beyond, or just some, however anyone perceives it. But I agree, that gives you something to, like, oh my gosh, I cannot wait for Friday. I cannot wait for Sunday. I cannot wait to but also I loved when you said about love and like, because, when you get into a relationship, you are sparks are flying. Everything is so, nothing can go wrong. We're having such a good time. And you miss, at least me, I really like to get to know someone who I'm talking to. I ask them questions, and people are like, I'm not used to asking questions. I'm like, oh, is it okay that I'm asking? They're like, yeah, I'm just not used to it. Like when I go on a date, nobody really, and I'm like, really? Like, I want to know who I'm talking to. Sex is amazing, but I also want to make it a connection. I want to know who you are. I'm spending time with you. This is my time. I want to be able to learn a little bit about you. And I would hope to reciprocate. I would hope to have that person
want to know about you too.
Yeah. So that's something, but the fact that you're saying the love, I've seen so many times where people are just blinded by love, and then they get married, and then, wait, I don't even know what your favorite, dish is, or what some things like that. So I really liked when you said that it gives you an opportunity to like the person that you love.
Yes.
I really like that a lot.
Thank you. And I like what you said, that when you go into a relationship or meeting someone, you want to know about them, because them, who they are as a person, and going deeper into their soul. Not being creepy. I'm not talking the creepy stuff.
No, of course.
I'm saying, what makes you happy? If you ask me the question, what makes me happy? Bring me to a beach for 5 hours, leave me alone with a good book, and I will be a happy girl. But really, everyone has interests. Everyone has wants. Some people are holding hurt. Some people are holding pain. Understanding where a person is coming from a soul level, from a personality level, that is what is going to take you throughout your relationship. If you see that someone is holding on to anger, but you don't reveal that aspect of them until you're 6 months into your marriage, because that wasn't important to you to figure out, the sex was at the top of the list, then are you doing yourself a favor? Are you doing your relationship?
Because now you're in an abusive relationship that came out of nowhere, but in the beginning, there were signs that you could have figured this out and talked and found out that this person wasn't for you in like the first 2 weeks.
Yes.
You know, it could have been like that, and you could have then didn't have to waste your time. You didn't have to waste, you know, then you could have spent that time with someone that you actually, you know, reciprocated that, I guess, love. I guess that, because that's, I really think it is I, you know, whenever I meet someone, I want to know about them. You know, I'm interested. I want to, like, I'm curious. Like, what did you experience? What has your life been like? Like, tell me. Like, it's, you know, because we all have a different game. We're all on a different pond. But we're all so similar. And that's one thing that is such a big thing. Everyone focuses on differences. Yes. And it's like, guys, we're here together, all struggling. Like, we're all kind of going to the thing. Tell me a little about.
Yeah, exactly. We all have something we're going, and how does each person go through their struggles or challenges? Mm-hmm. Some people want to bitch about it. Some people want to talk to everyone about it. Some people run to their therapists, and some people go within.
Yeah.
And they create that moment of silence, and they connect with their piece of God that they have, because my connection to God, your connection to God, your inner place is radically different from everyone else in the world.
Yeah.
So being able to realize that when we go through things in life, either as an individual or as a couple, there is a pathway we are on, and there is a way that we can get past it. And sometimes it's just divine messaging, understanding, quieting my mind, what am I supposed to do, and kind of taking the lead like that. And I think that really, really enhances the conversation, because at the end of the day, when we have a carved out time in our marriage throughout each month of the 2 weeks off, the focus, because the focus is not the physical, the focus is the emotional and the support for the other.
The support.
So let's say you were all busy, you were having fun for the other 2 weeks and things were happening, but you really have to take care of issues. You got to talk things out. You got to work on some things. It's carved out. It's part of your marriage, and it's the time to make things work.
Yep. I have a quick little quote that I just wanted to say, because you were talking about it and I loved it. You can drown in 7 inches and you can drown in 7 feet, but you still drown. And everyone has a different kind of, you have no idea what everyone's going through. And so the fact that with this marriage, with this practice, it allows you to really, really understand your partner. There are things that everyone's going through, things at work that go wrong, and sometimes that partner just bottles it up, but it gives you an opportunity to be like, let's talk. Let's get to another level of our love. Let's make this not so much about physical, but that you understand me, that you can look at me and say, wow, what's wrong? Like, something's upset. Like, why are you upset? Like, I've been with, and that's what I want. I want to that. That's something that I think everyone wants, eventually.
Yeah.
People
want to be heard. People want to be understood. And sometimes I'll add to that, sometimes people don't want to talk. My husband loves to laugh. He's like, as I'm dozing off, Devora starts a conversation. She just wants to talk and I want to sleep. It doesn't happen every night. It's, I hold a space because I understand that men don't always want to be the chatty type, and sometimes they do want to hold it in. So for example, when my husband lost his father and he came back, he buried him in Israel. When he came back, you want to say the right thing. But I didn't know what to say. And I said, as a wife, I know you're going through pain. And I know that as men, you don't really express it necessarily in bawling tears every other day. And you may not express it in words that tells me that you're in pain. But I'm holding space in my heart for those moments that you feel down, you feel like, I don't want to do anything. I don't want to talk right now. I need my personal space. And I said, just tell me, because I'm not you. I'm not a guy, and I want to support you. Yeah. I don't know how, but I'm just leaving this open space. You want to talk? Let's talk. You don't want to? That's fine. This is your mourning period. And these are ways that we have to work through things in life that come our way as a couple. And really, how are we going to make it work?
Exactly. But just know he knows that you're there for him. He knows that he can now take the time. He knows that I don't have to go and like my wife knows that I am suffering. I am going through this. I just want to be, thinking of thoughts of whatever. He's going to come to you. Hey, I actually am having a hard time. Like he is going to come to you. And that I feel like almost is so much more genuine, so much more like, that love is like, wow, I told my spouse that I am open, I am there for them, and open arms, and you can come whenever. And then it allows him to be able to also be like, okay, I can go and talk to. Okay, that's someone I need to talk to, and it makes him feel better. And then it's a cycle. It keeps going, and then So I love it.
Yeah, it definitely helps with becoming closer and just appreciating your spouse on a different level. Now, I will make a disclaimer. I say lots of wrong things, and I learn from my mistakes. And I'm one big proponent of going on weekly walks because there's always stuff to talk about. But in general, it's a great concept just to have it the way Judaism has embedded it within our marriage to have this 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, and a time for focusing on the physical connection and a time that's focusing on the emotional. So thank you so much, Ben, for your input. I absolutely love that.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Anytime.
Fantastic. So just to end off, thank you all for listening to today's episode. If you're loving the Spark by Hollywood podcast, I'd appreciate it if you can leave me a 5-star review on any platform that you're listening on, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Audible, or if there's anything else that I've missed, go grab a 5-star review. Be sure to follow me on Instagram as well at Spark by Hollywood. That's where the conversations continue and where I give you extra content on all my episodes. And finally, I'd love to hear from you. Send me your feedback, send me your comments, your questions, and your aha moments to info@sparkbyhollywood.com. And remember, in a world where we are all enamored by the spark of Hollywood and its celebrities, always remember your own unique spark that you carry within you that makes you the gift that the world needs to shine that much brighter. I'll catch you in the next episode.